Righto, time to go.
It's not flash, we pushed on too far and now the pub's shut. It's 10 past 10. I reckon you're a bigger bogan.
We did have one mirror when we left. It's about at this point you really question your life choices. I'm doing this for fun, so how bad can things be? Righto.
It's most definitely going to catch on fire. Take two.
No.
Are you excited?
Nah, you can't hide that shit. Pretty bad. Righto, if all else fails, this is the best spanner in the shed. Just don't forget, when installing new suspension like this, make sure you lube your pin. You never want to go in dry. Since last episode, guys, we've been really busy getting a few things sorted out. The van should be already out the driveway by the time this episode goes to air, I would say. It was a quick sale and we're really stoked that we're giving it to someone that's really excited about it and they're going to use it. They're off on their own adventure, so that's really good news. And it gets us one step closer to our new adventure, which I can't give too much away. So we've been cleaning up the shed, trying to slowly turn this into a bit more of a workshop. I knew that would happen, and that was part of getting Lance, is then getting myself set up in a workshop a bit better. Still waiting on my parts washer. Hopefully I'll get that this week. Part of setting up the shed was doing a big tip run. Everyone does that after Christmas. And who doesn't go to the tip and not come home with something? And have a look at this gem. Who the hell throws an angle fridge to the tip? Admittedly, I don't know if it works, but generally these things don't take too much to get going. It's a 32 litre. I got a 40 litre and I've got a 40 litre in my ute. I'm starting to collect them, but I couldn't leave it there. Like, you know, that's just how it is. You get bikes, fridges, all sorts of good stuff from the tip. And I'm not really a hoarder, so, you know, that was definitely worth grabbing. Anyway, we've cleaned up the back of the shed here. We're going to turn this into a bit of a prep area, some more wire wheeling, and all the painting will go on out here instead of in the shed. I've got space cleared out for the parts washer. So yeah, really starting to turn this into a bit of a workshop. So I'll get a few bits and pieces bolted back onto the chassis, the spare wheel hanger, the leaf springs. I will get some brake lines, hard brake lines made this week. And at the end of the last episode, you saw I ordered an e-locker through all 4x4 spares. So that should be in contact in the next day or two. And that should be hopefully coming. And I've got a mate lined up to help me set that up. Hopefully we can show you guys how that all happens. Before we get into that wire welling, painting and assembling, there's a little bit more dismantling. We're going to get the last uni out of this tail shaft. I did one the other day with a hammer and a punch. I'm lucky enough that my neighbour has lent me a press. So it's a pretty basic press, but man, how handy is that? It's really stoked to have that in the workshop. So we'll do it properly. We'll put it in the press. I'll show you guys how to push out a uni joint. I only learnt by watching YouTube, so I'm passing on that knowledge. So let's do it. As with everything though, you borrow something and it's never that easy. So I don't actually have a bar to pump the jack or release the pressure, and I can't really find anything suitable in the shed. So I've got a piece of solid bar here. We will drill a hole down the middle of it, cut a slot in it with an angle grinder, and then we can start the job we're actually supposed to be doing. Depending on the style of tail shaft and uni joints you have, there are circlips to take out. These ones have them on the inside of the tail shaft, so they're in behind the uni there. Some of them do have an outer circlip. So these are an inner, so it's just a matter of finding where they join and knocking them out with a little screwdriver. So I've gone ahead and drilled a hole in a piece of hardwood I had laying around. So when you press one side of the uni out, obviously the other side needs to go somewhere. So I just did one as a test piece so I didn't bore you guys with the mucking around getting it set up. So we'll show you how it works now. The other one was really tight. It went off with a bang when it got moving. So we'll set this one up and we'll do this one from start to finish. Obviously I'm not going to put the unis back in straight away. We're going to tidy up the whole tail shaft, wire wheel it and paint him up. Alright, so that's it. So you just push the uni all the way through so you can see that. And I just had to give it a couple more taps, not a lot. And then your end cap falls off, which then gives you enough room, or should give you enough room, to get the other end cap off. It's just a matter of getting it in the right position, which is like a lot of things in life. And making this look very hard. That one was really tight. I busted me a piece of timber, but we got there. Okay, so that's right through. So that one is nice and loose. So you can see it's actually rusty. That's why it really went off with a bang. In theory, that should just fall out, but as usual, because it's on camera, it's not funny. Alright, so we've got spare wheel carrier, tail shaft, yokes, and the leaf spring perches. So time to be at one with the wire wheel, clean them all up and get some paint on them. Okay, that's enough wire wheeling for one day. So much nicer to do it outside. All the parts are in pretty good condition. Obviously that's been modified at some point. I was going to try and get another bolt, but look, it's going to do the job. I'm not too stressed about that. I'll get some new nuts for them and new washers obviously. All the yokes look okay, and we've just got a brake line bracket. So we're going to duck inside now and start putting some spring leaves back in the chassis. I do have to pop the rear bushes out of the chassis still. I got a bit eager just to get into that paint and whatnot, so they're still in there. So I'll pop them out, get the new bushes, get the proper lithium grease, and we'll pop these springs back on and just want to see some nice fresh bolts. It'll be very satisfying. Okay, so it's good to see some empty boxes on the ground. We're starting to put things back on. When I originally got this home, I jumped on all 4x4 spares and just went crazy, knowing that I would have hold-ups along the way. So, you know, if I can't put diff housing in next, we'll move on to something else and we'll keep this project flowing, and hopefully it'll all just come together right at the end. So if I can't do one thing, I've always got parts to start another. That was the plan. And yeah, I definitely gave the catalogue a workout at all 4x4 spares, which is the whole point of it. So we'll go and get the springs and we'll squeeze these bushes up and pop them in. Don't forget, use the correct lithium based grease for your bushes. You don't want to use normal grease and they end up chewing them out. So I've greased the pin up. It is a greasable pin, but we will grease it up first anyway. And then once it's all assembled, we'll pump a bit of grease into all of them. And split. It's promising. Righto, I'm just gonna rattle these up enough to pull the pins in home, and then we'll probably back them back out again till we get the wheels, the axle back in, and it's sitting back down on its own weight. Look, it's probably not such a big deal with leaf springs as it is with like an IFS vehicle, but generally you don't want to do anything up really tight into any suspension until it's actually sitting at ride height. So we will do that, but I'll just pull them right up. There was a thread on that spring hanger, but it was shagged obviously, so just 8.5mm hole and then a nut and a bolt. It's nice and neat. Everything's loose still. I'll leave it really loose so it's nice and obvious. And then once we put the diff housing in and sit it down, I'll tighten them all up. Righto. I thought better of putting the rear shackles on, so we'll just put the front pin in, let the springs lay down on the ground, and it'll make it that bit easier to get the diff in later. Just don't forget, when installing new suspension like this, make sure you lube your pin. You never want to go in dry. Righto, that is literally probably as much as I can do with the back of the car until I get that diff housing sorted and those parts arrive. I've been thinking, talking to a few mates, we've gone full chassis black. We're thinking we might actually get the roof sprayed, professionally sprayed white. The roof and probably the front bib. So anything black on it will be fresh and brand new. Anything white on it will be fresh and brand new. And then obviously we're going to keep the old patina of the beige. I think that'll be a nice look. It'll make it a bit more purposeful. Like I said from the start, we don't want this thing to just look like a sack of shit. It needs to look like it's been done for a reason. So we've got a spray painter mate coming down to have a look at it. We'll see if we can get this roof off. I don't want to, everything's in pretty good nick up there. I think it'll come off okay. I have done a repair on it myself, however, I don't think it'll be up to his standard. But yeah, nice fresh white roof, white grille, and probably also in the grille, we might just paint this mesh and put it in behind where it's supposed to be. We might paint that mesh a fresh black as well. The Toyota and diesel and Land Cruiser badges, you can buy genuine brand new. I think that'll make it really pop as well. We're gonna have brand new blinkers, we're gonna have brand new chrome door handles, brand new white roof, brand new white bib, black chassis. Start to see a picture in my head, I think, of what it, you know, what it can look like, and still have that rat rod feel, but have enough new stuff and fresh paint on it to make it look purposeful, including a fresh interior. All the back bolts are coming out really well, and then I think these sides won't be too bad to cake off. I was looking at it all wrong, and they aren't that corroded. Nothing's putting up too much of a fight. This roof might pop off quite easily. It'd be bloody good. Right, so we didn't need to take out any of those, as I suspected. Sweet, we'll go across, do the other side, won't make you sit through that, and then we'll do the unveiling of the roof. We need to fold the front down, just because that was pretty painless. Yes, the project's escalating. I didn't think I'd ever pull the roof off it. It was really freaking easy, actually. Right, we'll just pull the front wheel off and off to the paint shop. Ah!
Hello, Charlie. Charlie. Charlie, puppy.
If only you knew how to use a grinder, Charlie. It'd be very freaking handy right now. Righto, I've got another day in the shed. Bit more on Lance. Let's get a bit further with this rear end and trying to get that housing back in the ute this episode. That was always my plan, and I'm going to stick to it. Let's go. Really got a mess now. The diff housing's a lot lighter to move around, that's one benefit. So we're going to cut these spring perches off. They're pretty crappy looking, very rusty actually. And so the way I'm going to do it is I'm just going to cut one off at a time and use the opposite one to realign the diff so it's sitting nice and square on, you know, exactly the same height and level sawhorses. Look, I doubt this is really the proper technical way to do it, but I think for Lance it'll be true enough. So we'll cut one off at a time. I'll make a couple up, and then we'll weld one back on, and then cut the opposite one off the other side, and that'll give me a location for rolling the diff forward and back. Obviously, I'll put a couple of score marks with the angle grinder on the diff so I can locate them, you know, side to side. Yeah, keep it simple, but it's going to be a painful job. There's going to be a lot of work in making those little perches up. So let's get on the angle grinder. The one's off. As I said, we'll leave the opposite side on so we can use that as a datum point for the twist in the axle. And I'll put a couple of little nicks just in the axle with the cutting disc so I can locate it properly. We didn't want to lose those marks. So this is what I'm using. It's actually heavier than what was on it originally. Let's do some fabrication with a 4-inch angle grinder. Should be fun, let's go. That went really well. Come up a treat. It's actually a thicker material than what was on it, and obviously it's not rusted to pieces like the original one. So you won't sit through the second one. I'll weld that on. Like I said, I've left the other side, or it's still on, to locate the diff and roll it forward and back. I have marked it on the actual housing so I know where it's located that way. Look, it might be not a millimetre perfect, but it will be damn close. And like I said, this is no rocket ship or a race car, so should be more than good enough for Lance. And yeah, that'll be a good job done once that's done. So wish me luck with the other side. It's a lot of work. So the rear housing's done as far as any repairs I needed to do. We made a couple of little tabs up to take the brake lines when I get those made up. Time to put a bit of paint on it and move on to the next thing. Righto, while the diff's drying, we'll get in and start cleaning up the hubs and any parts of the bearing assembly that I need, like the locking washer and the big locking nut. And we are going to do that with my parts washer. You bloody beauty. Yeah, so it's pretty odd to get so excited about a parts washer, but it's going to make life so much friggin' easier. Probably shouldn't be putting the diff housing in yet, but it's exciting just to get something back in the car. Would be easier to have it up on a sawhorse to do the bearings, brakes and the diff center, but we'll keep moving along. Awesome. Alright, that's the diff sat in place. As you can see, a few of the shots now, we have heaps of more parts turned up. Obviously thanks to all 4x4 spares again. Harrop E-locker time. So I just got a Connie and one of me mates that owns a mechanic shop, which I'm very lucky to have that. He's going to help me set it up hopefully. Anyone with a keen eye would have noticed that I just put those plates on the bottom of the U-bolts on facing around the wrong way. So we've got the bolt here for the shock and the bolt here for the shock. So I'll take them off and do all that again. Take two. Alright guys, we're going to leave it there. I have no idea what's going to be in next episode. Depends whether we can get that diff center sorted out with the E-locker, as to whether we can get wheels back under it. We'll just see. That's I'm at the mercy of, you know, a friend helping me out. So whenever he's ready, that's when we'll do it. If not, I've got a few other little jobs we can get onto. Really, maybe do something a bit more exciting than nuts and bolts, and start getting into the front bar. We'll see how we go. Anyway, thanks for watching guys. Don't forget, you only live once. Get out there and enjoy it. Cheers.